If you're using AI to learn how to write, you're not learning to write. You're learning to generate AI pollution. And the difference matters more than you may think. Here's what AI actually does. It predicts the next most statistically likely word based on patterns from massive amounts of text. That's it. That's the whole mechanism. It doesn't understand what it's saying. It's never felt urgency, wonder, grief, or doubt. It has no stake in the outcome. It only processes tokens, not meaning. It also has no point of view to defend and no lived experience to draw from. When you ask AI to write something, it's not thinking about what you're trying to say. It's calculating probabilities, asking only basic questions like what word usually comes after this one? What sentence structure appears most often in this context? Or what phrasing sounds best out of millions of data points? The result is text that feels familiar and safe, because it is. It's the statistical average of everything it was trained on. And that's the problem. AI is optimized for predictability, not originality. It just recombines what already exists. It cannot create a genuinely new idea. AI also only mimics emotions because it cannot feel anything. And it has no way of knowing which sentence will make a reader stop and reread. It simply knows what usually works. So when people say that AI writes well, they usually mean that it writes correctly. The grammar is perfect, the structure is logical, and the sentences flow. However, correct is not the same as good or original. A sentence can be grammatically awesome, but emotionally completely sterile. And that's exactly what AI produces. Text that passes at a glance but leaves nothing behind. It didn't used to be like this, by the way. AI actually used to be original. I used to be able to get the text I wanted in like 3 prompts. Now I have to prompt it and reprompt it like 30 different times. And if you would like to see the video where I describe how AI is censoring itself to irrelevance, you can watch it right here. And now let's get into what good writing actually contains. You know, the stuff that AI leaves out. Good writing has tension, the feeling that something is actually at stake, or that the next sentence could go either way. AI doesn't have that. It smooths everything out, making every paragraph feel the same level of safe. Good writing has surprise, an unexpected term that makes you lean in instead of skim. Unsurprisingly, AI can't do that either. It's only predicting the next most likely word. That by definition means it's only giving you what you already expect, so there's no edge and no risk. Additionally, good writing has rhythm. A short sentence after a long one, a fragment that has punch, or the deliberate breaking of a pattern to create emphasis. Artificial intelligence strips all of that out. It wants everything balanced and clear. And finally, good writing has lived experience. The type of specific, unpolished detail that only someone who was there could write. AI obviously can't pull from a life it never lived. It can definitely describe a situation generically and it can mimic its emotion, but it can't give you the small, true moment that makes a story impactful. When you let AI write for you, or worse, you let it teach you how to write, you're training yourself to produce text that usually doesn't have any of those things. You're effectively learning to generate words that sound right, but don't actually mean anything. And over time, your voice starts to drift toward the average. Your instincts get bypassed, your edges get soft, and you just stop sounding like yourself. And that is what I mean by AI pollution. It's writing that looks correct but says nothing. It is safe, but it's also generic and forgettable. It fills space without creating any impact, and the more people rely on AI, the more of this stuff floods the internet. Essays, emails, articles, scripts, all of it technically fine, but none of it worth remembering. Here's what happens when you rely on AI to draft for you. First, you stop searching for the right words. You just accept what AI gives to you. Next, you stop trusting your instincts about what sounds good. The AI output is so polished that your own rough draft feels weak by comparison. So you just start letting artificial intelligence define your style instead of developing your own. And eventually you lose the ability to judge what good writing even is. Because writing skills are built through struggle. The frustration of rewriting a paragraph 6 different times before it finally makes sense. The process of searching for the word that exactly captures what you mean and trusting an instinct that you can't fully explain yet. That struggle is precisely where you learn. When you bypass that process, the skill atrophies. So you don't just write words, you lose the internal sense of what makes writing work. It's the same pattern that I describe in this video where I talk about conflict resolution skills atrophying the more you use AI. After this atrophying, you can't tell anymore if something is actually good or just smooth. And smooth is not the same as good. The long-term cost is that your writing is impeccable, but it doesn't move anyone. People understand what you said, but nobody shares it. Nobody even remembers it by Friday. There's a difference between being understood and being felt. That gap is where writing actually lives. And contrary to popular belief, AI cannot close it for you. It can make your writing clear, but it can't make it matter. Only you can do that. I'm not saying don't use AI. I'm saying don't let it write for you. There's again a difference. It is a powerful editing tool. The mistake is using it as an authoring tool. Here's how it should work. You write first, draft in your own voice with your own ideas, get the words out without worrying about polish. Then, and only then, you bring in AI. Ask it to tighten structure, fix awkward phrasing, and let you know if there are any unclear passages. But most importantly, you review every suggestion manually. You keep what captures your voice and you throw out the stuff that ruins it. The key thing is that you stay in control, and you have to read AI output with suspicion. Ask yourself, is this actually what I mean, or does it just sound right? If you can't tell the difference, that's the trap. Also, restore what AI removes. AI routinely strips out the odd word, the short sentence, or the fragment. Put your strange choices back in. That's your voice. Because here's the reality. If you let AI write for you, you're not writing. Clearly, you're selecting predictions, and if you keep doing that, you become one. Your writing starts to sound like everyone else's because it's coming from the same statistical, boring model. And at that point, why would anyone hear you out? They can just ask the AI directly. So protect your voice. It took years to develop, and it's the only thing AI cannot replicate. Use your instinct. Every draft you write yourself makes it sharper. And finally, own your writing from the first word to the last period, because that's the only way it stays yours. If you want more videos about how AI is changing the way we create, go ahead and subscribe. And if you've noticed this happening, or if you've caught yourself relying on AI more than you should, let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.